Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of Cast. This particular episode is going to be mostly dedicated to Gamescom, and today I have a very special guest with me, and that is Globku. So say hi, Globku.
I'm special. How's it going, guys?
You're special, all right. So why don't you start by telling everyone where they can find you, because a lot of people don't tend to watch these until the end, so they'll know right from the start.
Good. Tell them while they're watching. That's great. So I have a YouTube channel, pretty much like Rurikhan. You can find me at youtube.com/wearemagicalnoob, or follow me on Twitter at magical_noob. So yeah.
Yeah, so he's a noob.
Yeah, magical one. From the magical kind, yes. But it's a group of people, it's not just me. So yeah, it's the name of the group, per se.
Yeah. But essentially, Globku was the one who went with me to Gamescom this year. We both went for TGN, and we basically were the TGN team on the ground, looking at all the games out there and checking out everything that we possibly could, including things that we didn't schedule and all that.
Yeah.
As per usual, just trying to do our best to cover as much of Gamescom as we possibly can. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give you a brief overview of everything we did. And I know that I'm going to forget a lot of stuff, and that's why Globku is here to remind me. And also to give you guys the perspective of someone else who doesn't have exactly the same tastes as me, even though a lot of our tastes overlap.
And Globku, also, I saw some different stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Globku also saw different presentations, because Globku was like, "I'm a strong, independent man, and I don't have to deal with your bullshit anymore."
You know, once I got the hang of it, was pretty much like, I'm a natural. What can I say? It's just,
oh man,
people like me, and I just approach them. It's like, I don't have any appointments, but if you could get me in, I'm like, sure, absolutely. I mean, you're a gorgeous guy, so we'll totally get you in. I got to see a lot of stuff. Yeah.
You got lucky is what you got, but that's okay, because I got to see pretty much everything I wanted to, and you know what I'm talking about specifically, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, sure.
But starting right from the beginning, I mean, we left Lisbon, we went to Cologne, we kind of walked a couple of kilometers on the way, all the way to the hotel, after taking a train to what was the station called?
Kolmes. Yeah.
Deutsches or something.
Yeah, well,
Messe Deutsches. I don't know. It had some weird name. Basically, it stopped right in front of Gamescom, the train that we took. And then from there, we walked to the hotel. And after that, we had an appointment right on the day that we arrived. And we went to see a game that I can't say that I was particularly excited about. But after playing it, I thought it was actually pretty cool. That was Warhammer End Times Vermintide, right? Am I saying the title right?
I'm not sure if it's just Warhammer End Times or Warhammer The End Times. Not sure about the
and
D.
Then Vermintide.
And then Vermintide. Vermintide is there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is basically a, was it 4-player? I think it was 4-player.
4-player co-op, yes.
4-player
5 classes though, so you can, switch your team, even if you always have the 4 players in. And it's a first-person action game. Combat looks like Skyrim, but different weapons have different movesets, so you'll be falling in love with different weapons before you fall in love with different classes. I don't know if that makes sense, because like the Bright Wizard is one of the classes from the Warhammer fantasy universe. I don't know anything about Warhammer, but hey, I did my best. And yeah, the Bright Wizard has a moveset with like a staff that has like fire spells, but if you take those weapons away from the Bright Wizard, it will change the character drastically. So it will more be different loadouts over different classes will make more significant changes, or at least that's what I think.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on the weapons that you have equipped, the classes will play very differently. So that is going to be kind of it's going to be a little bit of a motivator, because you will be getting loot as you play through the game, and also it is going to be very much a loot-driven experience, because they don't necessarily have a whole lot of levels. I believe it was like 7 campaign missions
levels plus 6 short ones.
Yeah, which they said, I mean, the campaign levels are supposed to last anywhere between 30 to 40-something minutes, depending on how good your group is. And then you have the smaller mission levels, which last, I don't know, 15 minutes or something along those lines. We played one of each, but we kind of broke the game several times. This was very much an early alpha. But I thought it was fun, but I still fear for the longevity of the game, and I believe that you're kind of in the same camp there, right?
I kind of see this game as a Left 4 Dead, but pretty much. Like, some people will love it and play the hell out of it, and will love to replay the levels, go to the hardest difficulties, try out different classes and different routes, perhaps. But yeah, for other people, it will be like, okay, I've seen all the levels, and I'm good. And yeah, it feels very much like a Left 4 Dead with melee combat. Hordes of enemies coming at you, and you got swords and spells and medieval stuff instead of the machine guns that you have in Left 4 Dead.
There's also ranged combat, though. Each character will have a ranged weapon as well, but we're not going to get too much in depth with that. I think you guys get the idea of what Vermintide is about. And besides, pretty much for most of the games that we're going to be talking about, there's already a video up on the TGN channel, which in my channel, there's also a playlist that says Rurikhan on TGN. You can find videos for all the games that we are going to talk about, or at least most of them, on the TGN channel, and I will probably have links in the description if you want to see more detail on a specific game, because me and Globku covered most of that stuff.
Yeah.
So after that, we went back to the hotel, we slept on it, and then we went back the next day to which was the day that Gamescom actually started, and we went to the EA press conference. Now, the EA press conference was very, very brief for us.
Before we did the press conference, so we were expecting the press conference to start at like 10, and it only started at
9:30. It was supposed to start at 9:30, and it started at 10.
I think it started at 11 because we had a meeting at 11:30.
No, the meeting with Versus Evil was at 10:30. So
okay,
the
thing started at 10, and we were expecting it to start a bit sooner. Yeah, since the show floor was still kind of empty, I wanted to play Cuphead. That's the first thing we did on Gamescom, was play Cuphead. We
played Cuphead.
Actually, the first game I played at Gamescom was Goat Z, but let's not talk about it.
Let's not talk about Goat Z because, yeah, that was not. At least I didn't think that was a good experience, and I'm
when
not
a booth babe comes at you and says, "Oh, this is a very fun game. I didn't know this existed. It's a goat zombie." You're like, I mean, you can't say no because she has a pretty face, you know. And so, so you play Goat Z, and you're like, okay, but tell me as soon as Cuphead is free because I want to play Cuphead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then we went to play Cuphead. It was only boss levels. We don't know if that is
actually. Yeah, I've done some research in the meantime. It is just boss levels.
Oh, so it's all boss levels.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how the game works.
So basically, we fought against a bunch of bosses. The game is very, very hard. And once again, we have a video up on TGN going into specifics about that game, but I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. It is basically a 2D. It almost looks like a 2D platformer, but in reality, it's more of a 2D bullet hell boss fight type of thing. Is what I would call it. Totally. And you got alternate firing modes and special jumping mechanics and whatnot. And there's a lot of depth to it, and the art style. Was it from the 80s, Globku?
It's from the 30s. It's from the 30s cartoons.
I'm basically making fun of him because we got so much hate on that video because of people just saying, I can't believe you said it's from the 80s. Oh my God.
We've done a whole video of gameplay impressions, but people get stuck on the smallest things. It's amazing.
Yeah, that happened with a lot of the videos. It was very disappointing seeing some of the comments that we got, but a lot of people also enjoyed the covers that we did, so yeah, it's quite okay. But anyway, after we played Cuphead, we went back to the press event, which was about to start. We sat down, we watched about 30 minutes of it, which, to be honest, I think was where the best stuff was shown. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think we missed Battlefront, but that was it from
but
what
we played Battlefront, so it didn't really make much of a difference. But essentially something funny happened at the presser, which is we had to leave midway through the presser, so we were waiting until a trailer would come up so that the lights would dim, and then we would like jump out of our seats and exit. And jumping out of our seats turned out to be quite challenging. Because as I tried crossing through, I tripped over, I hurt my knee, and I just made a big mess. Luckily, the cameras didn't catch it, and it was by like a split second.
It was so close. Like, if you guys watch the press conference, it's right before they bring up the trailer for Star Wars: The
Star
Old
Wars:
Republic.
The Old Republic.
Like
yeah.
there's a zoom out that you can see the whole audience, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna see it! We're gonna see it!" And then it cuts to the trailer. Man, we were so close.
It cut to the trailer right before I tripped all over myself right in front of everyone. So there you go. As a matter of fact, if you keep watching through the entire thing of the EA press conference and you spot 2 empty chairs, that was us.
Yep.
There's one point where they actually show 2 empty chairs. That is where we were sitting. Anyway, we had to leave at 10:30 because we had another appointment. And like I said, we were told that the press conference was starting at 9:30, so we would be able to watch the whole thing, except they were late like by 30 minutes. And that is just like, hey, we got other appointments. We got other stuff to do. Yeah. So we went to this appointment with Versus Evil, who is an indie developer, an indie publisher. Very much in line with what you guys have come to expect, for instance, from Devolver Digital. At least that's kind of the vibe I get from Versus Evil. Except I believe Versus Evil only operates in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless of that, we saw a bunch of games there, including we saw a mobile game that we actually thought was interesting. We only saw the presentation for that one. We didn't.
Funny.
It was.
I wouldn't say interesting. It was a funny thing.
It was funny, but it's like we still don't know what the business model is, and we all know that usually mobile games tend to get completely wrecked by their free-to-play business models and all that. So that's kind of what you expect that thing to be. But basically, it was an MMO type game where you would play as the boss, and the waves of heroes would come at you and you would destroy them. So we just thought the concept was funny.
And the game's name was Like a Boss?
Like a Boss. Yeah,
Like
the game's name was Like a Boss.
Just in case people want to look it up.
Yeah, you guys should look that up just to see the
it's
trailer.
It's a funny
at
game.
Least,
like it has like the raid that comes at you, like the supposed human players that want to defeat the boss. They have like little bubbles of dialogue that are really
like
really
lag,
funny.
and you actually saw one of the little dummies just like lagging itself, and he wouldn't be able to move. It was funny. But apart from that, we played, I believe, was 3 games. What was the name of that game that's like Neverwood? I forgot. Army Krog?
Army Krog, yeah.
Okay, so basically I'm going to go from like, we're going to leave the best for last in terms of Versus Evil. So Army Krog, very much in line with Neverhood, if you guys play that game, which is very much clay animation. Now, the impressive thing here is that they did all those levels in clay by hand, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And just watching a video of them actually animating these things, like, slowly moving a clay arm, and, just seeing someone go there, move the clay arm, move away, take a picture, go in again, move the clay arm again, take another picture, that stuff. I thought that was really impressive. The game seemed funny, but it's not really my thing. I don't know about you.
I'm not too much into point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah.
But the audience that enjoys it, I'm sure they will like this one. Like it has a lot of heart. It's from guys that have made some amazing games in the past, some amazing point-and-click adventures. I think it's going to be a solid game for people who have enjoyed them in the past. I don't see new guys getting into the genre with this game. It's a lot of that nostalgia value for sure coming into it. And it's one of those games that doesn't explain anything to you. It's you drop in and okay, now you figure it out. Like, turns out you can control the dog, but you have to click on it. Like, the game doesn't even tell you that much.
And you can go into secret places and stuff like that. But that game was somewhat neat, but again, it's not really our kind of game. But if you like those kind of point-and-click adventure games with clay animation, with some of the,
I want to say it comes out on the 18th this month still. So
look at Globku bringing in the professionalism to the cons cast. I never know dates, me and dates, unless it's like Dark Souls or something. There's no
Dark Souls coming out.
Early 2016.
Okay.
Anyway, the other game we saw was Afro Samurai 2. I believe it was subtitled Kuma's Revenge, because it was the dude,
Revenge of Kuma.
Revenge of Kuma. It was the dude who had like a teddy bear helmet on.
Yes, that's
and
Kuma.
Neither of us were that impressed by it.
I had my suspicions that it was not going to be good, but I had to confirm it. And first of all, Rurikhan is not the best guy to play that game because apparently he keeps messing up the controls all the time.
Oh my god, no, it was the controller. Didn't you see the controller?
Look at him coming up with excuses.
The controller was so broken. We're not even kidding right now. The controller kept stopped working constantly. And it's true. Come on now.
Yeah. That's
the controller was messed up, so it wasn't the best experience right there. But then it's just like, you know, this is very much a hack and slash game, right? You know, something in the vein of Bayonetta and something like that, but not nearly as good, which is one of those things. Like, you put it together in that universe and you have just like the amazing stuff that Platinum Games is doing, and then you have Afro Samurai 2, which is just not even close to being as good or near that level. So I'm not exactly sure, you know, if people are going to get into it. Probably anime fans, I'm thinking. Fans of the anime.
I'm an anime fan. I'm not getting into that.
I'm saying fans of the specific anime of Afro Samurai.
Yeah, I really like the Afro Samurai anime, and I'm not getting into this.
Okay, there you go. So maybe not even those people then. Let's move on.
I don't know who this is for. No.
The other game that we played was Skyshine's Bedlam, and that was actually really interesting. For those of you who played FTL, it had very much a vibe of FTL, but then when you went into combat, it was kind of like Banner Saga, so that was pretty cool as well. And, you know, there's just like a ton of depth to this game. It's going to be very hard for us to explain it in just like a couple of minutes. But yeah, basically you go through this wasteland in this huge vehicle that they call a dozer. And as you move through, you have random encounters just like you have in FTL, and you can choose which action you want to take. And depending on the action you take, you might get additional fuel, additional, you know, consumables that allow you to keep moving across the Bedlam. I believe that's what they call it, which was like this huge wasteland. And eventually you want to reach the other side, just kind of like in FTL, you want to reach some galaxy. I don't remember exactly what the objective was in FTL. It's been a while.
Yeah. So I'm on the same page.
Yeah. Okay, great. You can't even save me there. That's fine.
I don't think I ever beat FTL. So
yeah, I've never beaten FTL either, but I appreciate it quite a bit. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. It was a good game.
But yeah, Skyshine's Bedlam looked pretty fun, and it had some pretty interesting mechanics. Again, all the games we're talking about, there's going to be a link in the description, linking to the videos that are in further detail of those specific games. So
we didn't do a video on Army Krog or Afro Samurai 2.
Like I said, we covered a lot of games, but we stuck to the stuff that we thought was more interesting. So like we said, I mean, we are not the biggest fans of Army Krog, so we kind of like, well, we got to cover something else, and, you know, that's pretty much what happened there. Yeah. But anyway, after Skyshine's Bedlam, we just kind of moved on, and we went to the Blizzard press conference, which I'm going to assume that most of you guys saw that one. At least those of you that are interested probably saw it. You saw the new announcements with the new heroes for Heroes of the Storm. So the Monk, Rexar, who else was it? There was a couple of more. I don't know.
The StarCraft guy. The StarCraft warrior. I don't know his name.
Artemis.
I'm not a StarCraft dude.
I'm pretty sure it was Artemis.
Okay.
And there was another one still, I think. I want to say there was 4 heroes.
I
don't know. But anyway, there were a bunch of heroes announced for Heroes of the Storm. I can't wait.
Unless you're talking about the Overwatch hero.
No, Overwatch hero was Lucio, but that was just for Overwatch.
That's the 4th one.
Yeah, could be. But something that they announced that actually drew my attention quite a bit was the Allied Commanders. Now, I haven't researched this yet, and I didn't quite got what the idea of that game mode was. But basically, instead of going after the base building and, you know, the typical StarCraft 2 competitive stuff, they were actually using heroes and stuff like that. So it's not something like Heroes of the Storm, but it seemed like it was something that was going to be in between, you know, StarCraft 2 gameplay and Heroes of the Storm. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I want to, you know, do further research on that. I'm assuming you don't remember that, or did you leave?
I was not at the press conference at that time.
Yeah, you left. I still haven't looked it up. You left because you were going to have lunch with the guys from the Division.
Yeah,
and that never happened.
So yeah, basically I went to the Division booth. And I was meeting up with Marco Style. So if anyone out there is like following the Division on YouTube, Marco Style, you probably know Marco Style. He's the #1 guy for covering that game. And I was meeting up with him there. We said we would meet at 1 p.m. And I got there and I asked the Ubisoft guys that were in the front desk, like, I need to find this guy because we're meeting up for lunch, and I got everyone looking for him. They even let me at in the Ubi lounge just to search for the guy, and he was nowhere to be seen. And turns out the next day we actually met up, and he was waiting, but not on the business area. It was waiting by the Division booth on the show floor.
Oh man!
So that's what happened, pretty much. But I actually, he didn't have lunch with the devs either. That's some confusion or whatever.
Serves him right. Like, there you go.
Yeah, serves him right.
You know, you want to meet up with us, and then you don't meet up with us, and that's what you get. You don't have lunch with the devs.
Yeah, and my lunch was a sandwich for the whole day, so that was great.
And it was a sandwich because it was out of the kindness of my heart. Otherwise, you would be starving the whole day.
Yeah, because I had no lunch. I had no lunch because I was counting on this.
But anyway, I don't think we did anything in the time of the Division. We were probably trying to schedule stuff with other publishers in that.
I think we scheduled Scalebound.
Yeah, we scheduled some stuff. Basically, whenever we had holes in our schedule, we were running around trying to schedule other things with other publishers to try and fill out the rest of our schedule. So after that, we went to play Call of Duty multiplayer. You have any comments on that?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, the thing is, we had a short.
We could have stayed and played as many matches as we wanted. We played one match and we were like, yeah, that's Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we're good. The thing is, in order for us to really, in order for us to really get the nuances of a new Call of Duty and stuff like that, I feel like I need to be at my house, relaxed, play like for 3 or 4 hours, and say, okay, I see something that was different that wasn't here before, and really, get a different feel for it. Just being at a show, playing the game for like 15 minutes, or even like half an hour, 45 minutes, I don't think would have been enough to really get a grasp of all the new stuff. But hey, we played Call of Duty multiplayer. It felt pretty solid, at least as a shooting game. You were like second on your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my team got its ass.
Apparently.
My team got its ass handed to it, and it wasn't fun. It was not fun at all. After that, I went to see a presentation on Fallout 4. It was just a video, which was very disappointing. There was nobody there that I could ask questions or anything like that. So it's just like, we did a video on it. Again, there's going to be a link in the description if you want to know. They talked about the strength stat, and they showed some new gameplay that we hadn't seen before. And obviously, because I was in such a rush watching this video and taking notes and whatnot, I noticed that we picked up, during that time, the person playing picked up these mini nukes, which were called the Fat Boy. And then he grabbed this weapon, which was apparently supposedly called the Fat Man. And I confused the two, and I just said, oh, he pulled out the weapon. The weapon was called Fat Boy. And the internet went into an uproar, and they wanted to rip my head off and do bad things.
You should never get any names wrong.
Yeah, if you get names wrong on the internet, you're dead. It's like it's over. Don't even.
It's mostly just people wanting to show off their Fallout knowledge.
Yeah, they think they're elitists.
It's like a fake outrage, like, oh, you're so fucking dumb. Like,
yeah, it's whatever.
These people are
elitists, and they make me sad. Regardless of that, Fallout 4 seems actually pretty interesting. But you weren't able to attend the Fallout 4. What were you doing in this time? Did you go to play something else, or?
I think I tried to schedule something.
Oh, okay,
but I ended up not doing anything, and and yeah, I waited for you at Activision because we were seeing Destiny.
Yeah. Then we were seeing Destiny: The Taken King. That was a very short mission. Yeah. Basically had 2 combat scenarios, which means you would fight 2 times and the mission was over.
They said it was the first half of the first mission. They weren't saying how many missions it would have or stuff like that. I don't know if that's public knowledge already, but the person there didn't know how to answer that. So yeah, that's what we played. We played it twice to try out 2 different classes. Yeah, they had the new subclasses already, so that was cool.
I played a Titan Sunbreaker, and then I played the Hunter Night Stalker. You played the Warlock something. I believe
Stormcaller?
Stormcaller, yeah. And then you played the Titan Sunbreaker as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple of new abilities, a couple of new things with these subclasses, which again, you guys can check out in a more detailed video. But the bottom line of Destiny is, even though Destiny is that game that doesn't have a lot of story to it and has these really short missions that are even somewhat frustrating, due to its mechanics being so solid, it basically made us both want to play Destiny again.
It did, but at the same time, like what we played pretty much felt like vanilla Destiny, where you go to a place, you have a combat scenario, you keep going, you have another combat scenario, and also the areas where we were shooting people were just super familiar. I would say they're even the same areas that we've been to before, but I don't know enough about Destiny. If they're not the same, they're really similar.
And we should stress out that your character's like the character you played is like level 9. That's how much you played of the game.
Oh yeah, I'm like level 9. I'm like level 9.
This new expansion still feels familiar.
Yeah.
So yeah, we played some Destiny. Again, it's just really solid game in terms of mechanically and gameplay and all that. Super solid. In terms of its mission structure and whatnot, a little bit lackluster. But we will see. We will see what we end up doing with Destiny. Anyway, then we played a game that I never played before. I mean, not just the game itself, but the entire franchise. I had never played this franchise before, and that was Guitar Hero Live. I never played Guitar Hero. It was pretty fun. I can't say that I didn't like it because I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, and I wasn't really expecting to. And I know you enjoyed it quite a bit as well, even though you fumbled with the new controller and whatnot.
At the beginning of the song, it was kind of tough to get used to the new guitar. So basically, it has 3 buttons on top, 3 buttons on bottom. So 6 buttons total instead of the 5. But since it's 3 top, 3 bottom, it's easier to place your fingers on the guitar. It's just that watching the notes on the screen coming up and distinguishing them between what's on the top, what's on the bottom, and processing that and pressing the respective button was something that took me a while to get used to. But by the end of the song, I actually thought I was getting the hang of it. So I think it's a really cool new system. I really like the change. Yeah. I really like this change to Guitar Hero.
We also both enjoyed some of the new features that were announced, and we're going to, like I said, there's going to be a link in the description for everything. So if you're more curious about Guitar Hero, you should check that out. After that, we had 1 hour break, which essentially, if I remember correctly, this is when you went to play Division, and I went to play Overwatch.
I think so.
So I'll start with Overwatch, which is going to be very easy because I got completely and utterly obliterated. I believe that the team that I played against must have been sitting there for quite some time. And yeah, that was a little bit frustrating. I obviously played Torbjorn, the dwarf dude, and that is also a very hard class to play the first time that you play Overwatch, because if you're setting down turrets, you need to know the map, you need to know where are going to be the choke points that people are going to be heading down to. And obviously it was my first time playing, so that didn't went too well. But it was okay because near the end, the choke point that I was defending was our spawn point. So that was fairly easy. Because, yeah, they were very much pushing us all the way back into the spawn. So that was my experience with Overwatch. I got my ass handed to me. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. It feels like a very solid game. It's got that Blizzard polish to it. So even though it's still like early alpha, whatever, like all the animations were silky smooth, all of the like, you know, collision detection, all that stuff, like super smooth experience and no glitches, no nothing. So that was pretty cool. On the other hand,
similar to your experience, the Division also has that Ubisoft polish, which might not necessarily be a good thing. But yeah, I played it on Xbox One, and visual downgrade all the way. Like, that game doesn't look nearly as good as the trailers.
But it's like
Marco Style said he played it on PC previously, and the game on PC looks fine. But damn, those Xbox graphics are bad.
Wow. People are going to keep saying that we hate the Xbox right on this video now. But it's fine, because we'll sing Xbox praises in a couple of minutes. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. This Gamescom sold me an Xbox, so...
Yeah.
The Division, the demo they had was on the Dark Zone. It was a small portion of the Dark Zone, which is the PvP area. So I'm gonna be like, I didn't like it at all. But that's I guess doesn't speak to the whole game. So it's only negative criticism towards the Dark Zone itself. I didn't control great. It felt like characters would take a while to get out of cover. Like that movement acceleration was not really enjoyable, and the character was sticking to walls and all around the place like Velcro. And yeah, the shooting was all right. And yeah, we just reached a stalemate at the extraction point where our team would kill their team. And then they would respawn, come out from sides we're not expecting, and they would kill us, and then we would kill them. So no one would extract, and eventually the demo just timed out. No one was able to win that match.
But not even Marco really enjoyed that demo. No. So I kind of feel that the fault of that is probably that demo was just not very good. So
what Marco said to Ubisoft, I really liked his words, were this is not a good demo for your game, and if it is, then your game's gonna suck.
So yeah, there you go. So if you played The Division at Gamescom, just know that most people didn't really appreciate that particular demo. So maybe next time they have it playable or whatever, maybe when the beta comes out, maybe it'll be better. We don't really know.
Some co-op stuff, perhaps, like focusing on this PvP, which is a small aspect of the game. I don't feel like it was a great choice. And on top of that, making the demo about one small dark zone, or a small part of the dark zone with only one extraction point, didn't really convey what the game is about. And it was just like an all-out shooting between teams and not that great of a cover shooter. Yeah.
But anyway, after I played Overwatch and after Globku played The Division, we went on to see a presentation on Metal Gear Solid 5, where they didn't reveal a whole lot of new stuff, but the guy was actually playing it, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So there was actually a person playing the game. We were able to ask a couple of questions, but nothing really new was revealed. So there's not a whole lot to say.
We shouldn't. Apparently, we shouldn't ask any questions because the girl was like, she answered a couple of questions and then she said, I'm actually not supposed to answer questions because I'm not working on the game. But I was able to get a couple of questions in before she cut us off. And yeah, so it was really just a hands-off presentation. They showed us what they wanted to show. Nothing that isn't out on the internet already. So if you're looking forward to Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, you probably saw already. We saw.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that it looked bad or anything. No, I thought it looked amazing. And
yeah, just nothing new to report on.
I just can't wait to I want to run around and Fulton everything. That's what I want to do. It's like I'm just going to go around the map and just like, oh, there's a goat, Fulton a goat. Oh, there's a soldier, Fulton a soldier, Fulton a jeep, I want to Fulton a helicopter. I wonder if you can do that. That should be interesting. How would the helicopter even reach the base? I'm being Fultoned. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 still looks pretty good. It's just there's not a whole lot of new stuff to talk about. Then you popped your VR cherry with a game that wasn't that great, if I remember correctly.
No. We played Pollen, which is still very early in development. The thing about Pollen is it's going after that Gone Home vibe of telling a story through exploration, through interaction with the environments. They have more contextual puzzles to break that monotonous storytelling, just interacting with objects. And the big thing is VR for this game. But because their frame rate isn't still super polished, I was getting motion sick. And yeah, overall, it wasn't a great experience, but they have plenty of time to polish their title. Yeah. And that game's going to live or die by the story. If it tells a good story, it's going to be good. If not, it's not going to be good.
So after that, we went to get something to eat, and you ate some. Was it? No, I think it was the previous day that you ate something very, very spicy, and you couldn't taste anything afterwards.
Yeah,
that was bad for you. Our friend over at the Turkish restaurant, he treated me nice. He didn't treat you that nice.
Did you like spicy food? I said yes. And he said, look, it's very spicy.
No, he actually said, okay, then it is too spicy. He said, too spicy.
And I said, okay, then just a little bit because you're scaring me. And yeah, the little bit actually felt like a lot. So
Globku is like, dude, I'm going to have to drink like 2 more beers. Yeah. He just like kept chugging because it's so hot. But
yeah. And drinking the beer wasn't helping on top of that.
Not even the beer could save you.
Not even the beer could save me.
Yeah. After that, we went back to the hotel and recorded a couple of voiceovers. Again, you can see a lot of those voiceovers in the description. The next day, it was pretty much Bandai Namco morning. That's all we did. All morning long, we started with Naruto. We even took a picture with Matsuyama, which you guys probably saw already in my social streams. If you guys follow me anywhere, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, you guys probably already seen that.
What a guy.
Anything that you... Matsuyama, yeah, he was awesome. Anything that you want to bring up like real fast about Naruto, because Globku is like super hardcore into Naruto.
So... It is an enhanced version of the previous game. There's a leader change system now, but pretty much everything was already known, everything that they've showed. It's just, I got to ask a couple of questions to clarify some aspects of the game, like wall fighting was announced at a magazine, so people thought World Fighting was returning to the franchise, and turns out it was just during story mode, which is something they have been doing for the past games. So yeah, kind of a misleading advertisement there. And yeah, a couple of other details that if you're hardcore Naruto fans, you're going to care about, but I'm guessing most of your channel isn't. So
yeah, but anyway, there's going to be a link to the video that we did afterwards, so you guys can check out all those tiny little details. Probably I'm going to include the link of the video that you did previously as well.
Battle system?
Yeah, which has all of the changes in the battle system for those of you that are hardcore into Naruto. Yeah. Then we watched the presentation on Dark Souls 3, and I know you guys probably want to know a whole lot about that. I will be making a video specifically to Dark Souls 3 where I will go super in-depth into every little nuanced detail that I figured out. But just to give you guys a little taste, during this presentation there was a mana bar on screen, although they immediately said, this is just placeholder, Don't
all about the
read
HUD,
too
this
much.
placeover. You can't read anything on it.
There was also a Sunbro symbol where the Covenant was in Dark Souls 2. So obviously Covenants are going to be back as well. That even though they said it was placeholder, Miyazaki later confirmed in an interview with us that the Covenant system is going to be back for multiplayer. I mean, going to be back. It never really left. All of the games have a Covenant system, so there you go. After that, again, we got to play some Dark Souls 3, so it was basically like Dark Souls 3 and then more Dark Souls 3.
What a waste.
What a waste.
What a waste. That hands-on was a waste.
Okay, so let me clarify that. So what happened was, before the presentation, the guy who was doing the presentation, he said, there's a secret boss in the hands-on demo. The Frozen Knight, or whatever the hell he was called. But basically there was a secret boss. So I was obsessed with finding where the secret boss was. So I spent most of the demo. I did a quick test on some of the stuff that I wanted to test, like dodging, locking on, all that stuff. And after that, I was basically like just running around all over the place trying to find where the secret boss was. And guess what? I didn't find it. So I didn't get to fight the boss that I knew where it was. And I didn't get to find the boss that I wanted to find for that particular demo, and that was very frustrating. And that's why
it was Rurikhan smashing the walls and pressing A on the walls to try to find secret doors, and that was the whole demo. That's what he did. What a waste, man.
I did a little bit more than that. We were close, dude. We were close. Come on now, don't throw me under the bus.
I bet we weren't. I bet we were nowhere near the boss.
I hate you. Anyway, after that, we went to the EA booth where we played Battlefront, the new mode, Fighter Squadron, which is very much, for those of you that played Rogue Squadron, it's kind of like the same deal. You fight, we were fighting like X-Wings versus TIE Fighters. TIE Fighters felt like they were overpowered as all hell because both me and Globku did extremely better when we were on the Empire side. And in the last round, I actually checked the scores, and you could see that every single person playing on the Empire side was scoring above and beyond the people playing on the Rebel side with the X-Wings. So the simple fact that the TIE Fighters were more agile turned out to be a little bit overpowered, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, not only that, but also the ability that you have on cooldown for the TIE Fighters. It's a boost that allows you to quickly get away from anyone who's locking onto you. And on the X-Wing side, you have a shield, which you have to time with the missiles. And even if you time it correctly, I mean, you didn't really shake off your pursuing ship. So, yeah, then not only the agility of the ships themselves, but also the abilities made the TIE Fighters like incredibly broken.
So then we got to see a presentation on Mirror's Edge, and we actually got to play it later that day, but it's not a whole lot of new stuff was revealed apart from the mag rope, which I wasn't aware at E3, but they revealed the mag rope, and that was pretty much it. According to you mentioned it controls very much like the original Mirror's Edge.
Very much like I remember it.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that.
Okay.
It's been a while since I played it, but yeah, smooth as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very satisfying game to play. We liked it quite a bit. I think you liked it as well. It's just, it was the same thing as E3, so not a whole lot of new stuff to say. After that, we watched the presentation on Need for Speed. Again, nothing really new came into play. Both you and me didn't really appreciate the handling on the car that much, but we kind of feel like we need to...
that's like, personally, that's one thing that I always have with driving games. It always takes me a couple of hours to get used to a new driving system. So even though like I didn't like it, maybe if I play it for a couple of hours, it will be okay. That's something that happens all the time with me in driving games. So
yeah,
I don't want to bash their driving system at all.
I feel like I want to experiment with it a whole lot more. I played kind of both ends of the spectrum, the drift mode, a little bit drifty and a little bit grippy, and I don't know, I couldn't really perform decently with any of them. That could just also mean that I'm a terrible driver, but yeah, I'm gonna...
Maybe. I don't know. The Need for Speed was very glitchy.
Yeah,
it's not that far away from release. So.
Need for Speed on his station, not on mine. I didn't experience this, but on his station, like, it was glitchy as all hell.
So yeah, look out for that. Don't pre-order, guys.
Anyway, after that, you went to watch some Mad Max. Nothing you revealed again.
No, it's just the car didn't handle great, and I don't know if it's because I made it too heavy or because the game just sucks.
I feel a theme coming on.
Handling.
I feel a theme coming on. The cars didn't handle too great for us.
Maybe
car games didn't work.
So from the reports I've heard from other outlets, they say it handles fine. So it might have been me who made the car too heavy and not have like the suspension or whatever to support that weight. But yeah, it's hard to have a 30-minute demo and try different configurations with the car. Like that's not gonna happen, pretty much. But yeah, I enjoyed the combat. The vehicular combat was cool. If the car handled a bit better, would be even better. Still.
I liked when you picked up someone with the harpoon and then threw them like slingshot style. That was pretty cool.
Yep,
that was pretty much my favorite moment of that.
You can do some crazy stuff with that with the harpoon.
After that, you went and you watched the presentation on, what was it? Because I don't remember. After Mad Max, you went to Microsoft. You saw one of the presentations. I don't think it was Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Quantum Break.
It was Quantum Break, and then you also saw Crackdown, I believe, right?
Crackdown right after Quantum Break, yes.
Yeah, so you watched Quantum Break and Crackdown, and, you know, just the short and
This is
sweet
where my
version.
charm came in, and we got to see some appointments that we didn't schedule.
His charm came in because someone from Microsoft, and actually I got to give some props to Microsoft because they had, hands down, the best organization when it came to presentations because it actually allowed people that didn't have appointments scheduled with them. You just like every half an hour, there's a new presentation going on at Microsoft, and you would have people coming out with plaques and saying, there's going to be a presentation on this. If you want to watch it, come talk with me. And there might be a chance that there's an open seat and you could go in and watch the presentation, even if you didn't have it scheduled, which as it turned out, we watched what, 5, 6 Microsoft games that we
I think we watched everything except for Cobalt, Gears of War, and Halo.
Yeah,
everything else we watched it.
Everything Microsoft was showing except for Halo because Halo was always full.
And we didn't have anything scheduled.
Yeah, nothing was scheduled. So that was very, very impressive. So Microsoft, props to you right there. Best organization in show. If there was an award for that, you would have won. There you go. Most organized booth in the show. Anyway, so give us the short and sweet because this video is already running super long on Quantum Break and Crackdown.
So the main thing that I wanted to know about Quantum Break was how the TV show was integrated. Sorry, I bumped the mic there. Was integrated with the game, and it's pretty much the game has 5 chapters. At the end of each chapter, there's a junction point where you're gonna make a choice, and that choice will be reflected on the live action series, which has 4 episodes. So at the end of the chapter, junction point, you make a choice, and then you watch a 20-minute episode of a live action show. And then you go back to the game. So it's pretty much like long cutscenes. That's how it works. But they don't want to, call it FMV because that would... FMV, I feel like it's different sized cinematics appropriate to the game. And in this case, it's very much like 20-minute episodes. Yeah, you showed up on the video, so thank you for that. Girlfriend Globku showing up. Now you have to go back sometime. Yep. Okay. So Crackdown. Crackdown was impressive technically. I still don't know what you do in the game. So like in terms of single player campaign, they kind of give us an idea. And again, watch the video that Ruri has linked on the playlist. But what was really impressive is the procedural destruction that game has. That game does destruction like nothing I've ever seen before. And it was very, very impressive. And it uses the cloud computing to do that. So that's what they were mentioning during the press conference. They basically reach out to the cloud to ask for calculations on how these buildings should be destroyed, and it's super realistic. Really, really good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so that was Crackdown and Quantum Break again. There's going to be videos in the description for both of those. Next, I watched the presentation on Forza 6. Never played a Forza game before. Looks impressive in terms of visual fidelity and all that stuff. The new mode, which they were calling, I believe, League, also had a very interesting take on it. Some very advanced matchmaking system that would match people together according to play styles and skill and all that stuff, which seems like would be pretty cool for the multiplayer scene. Again, that's all going to be on another video as well. But Forza 6 looked pretty good. As a matter of fact, since both you and me are going to buy an Xbox, Forza 6 is actually one of the titles I'm curious to try out because
I'm not too big on simulation racing. I'm more of an arcade guy.
The last really good simulation racer I played was the last Gran Turismo. Can't say that Drive Club really quenched my thirst for that kind of game. So Forza 6 is going to be the next one for me. As soon as I buy the Xbox, because we are going to buy Xboxes, both of us.
Quantum Break was kind of a small nudge. Like, I'm curious about Quantum Break. I don't know if the live action stuff is going to be good implemented, but I'm curious about it. But that was the first nudge. Second nudge was like Crackdown and how impressive the technology was. But the system seller is still to come.
No, the system seller is going to be right now, actually, because this is when I watched it. Even though you watched it the next day, we watched this one separately. So I watched this next game.
I guess we can talk about it now.
Right after Forza, and let me just tell you, this was probably one of the best games I saw in the show. I mean, obviously there's Dark Souls 3, and that is going to be like above and beyond for me. But the thing is, I already saw Dark Souls 3 at E3. So mostly right now on this Gamescom, I was just focusing on specific mechanical stuff that I wanted to check out. So Dark Souls 3 wasn't like, a big surprise. I already knew it was there. I already knew I was going to like it, all that stuff. So the big surprise was Scalebound, which you guys know that I already was excited about Scalebound for the longest time. And after watching the presentation, this was hands off, so we didn't actually get to play the game, but after watching that presentation, I was like, yep, I'm buying an Xbox. I don't even care. I don't care. It's just like it's happening. Scalebound, the interesting thing that was revealed in this presentation is that the game is actually about the bond between the character with the sword, who is called Drew, and the dragon, who has a weird name that I cannot pronounce. Taguk. Taga.
I'm not going to try. You're on your own there.
Yeah, whatever. They kept saying the name of the dragon. I just I couldn't pick it up. But regardless, it's like a lot of the customization is actually going to be about the dragon. You're going to put some armor on him. You're going to be changing his element. And most of the gameplay in terms of boss fights and whatnot is going to be about you deciding the right things to do with the dragon in pair with your regular character. So you can't control the dragon directly. You have to give him commands and whatnot. Your character can still do stuff. Is just not nearly as powerful as the dragon. Anything you wanted to add to that?
There's dungeons. Which
and there's going to be multiplayer co-op.
Yeah, the 4-player co-op, which they were not talking about. I asked if you had to go co-op on the dungeons. They said no, you can actually do it by yourself, because we know there are players that don't want to play online. But if you go co-op, you're going to get better scores on the dungeons and better loot and stuff like that. So there are motivations. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, you're encouraged
There's
to
incentive.
play co-op. Yeah.
There you go.
Encouraged to play co-op instead of solo, but it is possible to go solo.
Okay, so after
I'm
that...
also buying an Xbox for Scalebound for sure. Yeah.
Pretty much. We're both getting Xboxes for Scalebound. After that, there was the World of Warcraft expansion announcement, which neither of us really got to watch decently because there was just a massive crowd in Hall 7, and it's every minor announcement that was happening was artifacts, and I was Legion, Demon Hunters, everybody was just going
Demon
insane.
Hunters, people lost their shit in Demon Hunters. The whole hall was shaking. That was
pretty much. And
I've been to music festivals. I've seen people lose their shit, but I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it was
this was insane. Yeah,
it was completely and utterly insane. The energy going on in that hall. People just super excited about World of Warcraft, as it tends to be when you have a really huge player base. So yeah, also on the topic of World of Warcraft, I did an interview, which I'm gonna just move to the next day because after this, we didn't really do anything else. So on the next day, I did an interview on World of Warcraft, which I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I might be making a video about World of Warcraft later on, but I'm not sure because I was also talking with Pure Shield. Maybe he'll do a video on that. So we will see what happens. But we don't have a video on WoW for you just yet because, yeah, a lot of new stuff just got revealed and we don't want to mess it up. Particularly with World of Warcraft, if people were killing us over Fallout and Star Wars, man, World of Warcraft people would just like hack the channel and delete all the videos or something. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But either way, on the next day, we also watched Battleborn. Now, Battleborn, I had never seen anything on Battleborn just yet apart from trailers and whatnot. And Battleborn was actually a game that I enjoyed quite a bit because they revealed... I'm not sure if they revealed it or if people already knew, but they said that Battleborn is actually going to have like a story mode that you can play with 5-player co-op. And that
I haven't been following this game, so I don't know if it was already known. But for me, it was new, and for you too. For
me, it was new as well. I thought it was just going to be competitive, but as it turns out, there's going to be an actual co-op mode, and that was very interesting. I played as this character that looked like a dwarf made out of stone or ice or something. And it was pretty fun. He had like a charge ability. He could throw his axe and whatnot. And this felt very much like a first-person MOBA, but you can also do single-player, not single-player, but like co-op, multiplayer missions on it. And that's pretty much what appealed to me more so than the competitive side of things. And it is what I'm more interested in trying out. There's also a progression system beyond just the matches themselves, because these are the people who gave us Borderlands, so there's going to be loot, and the loot is going to change some of your basic abilities or increase, like, for instance, your damage and reduce your crit, stuff like that. And the loot also has tiers, so you can go all the way up to, like, legendary loot, which will be much more powerful than your basic version of the same loot. Anything you want to add to that?
You can equip 3 pieces of loot at any given time. So once you have 3 pieces, you've equipped as much as you can, but then you can switch them out as you unlock more. I wasn't too big into it because it's pretty much defeat waves of enemies, conquer objective, and there's some storytelling. So if the story is good, maybe I'll be motivated to play more of it. But it's that MMO format or like Destiny, where it's just defeat waves of enemies, conquer this point, move on. So I wasn't very motivated, but the co-op aspect of it is what I guess is drawing you into this game.
Yeah, very much. I mean, the main difference between this and like Borderlands or Destiny or whatnot is that you actually level your character from 1 to whatever the max level is over the duration of each match, instead of like, slowly grinding it all the way to max level.
It's like a MOBA, pretty much.
Very much like a MOBA, and that's kind of what interests me. The mix of MOBA and co-op mechanics and whatnot. But let's not dwell on it too much. Again, there's a video on Battleborn as well, which actually I'm not sure if this video is going to be ready by the time my video is out. So the video on Battleborn might come later because it hasn't been edited yet.
Oh, great!
After that, you got to watch. You got to watch XCOM 2. I believe that pretty much what you watched was a video presentation. That video is already out.
So I don't think it was as bad as your Fallout presentation, because there was actually a dude saying, hello, we're going to watch a video, and then he pressed play, and then he said, thank you for watching.
Well, that was the same thing that happened in Fallout.
Oh, okay.
There was a
but
dude,
I actually approached the dude and asked him a couple of questions afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, the video is pretty much out already. So what I saw is out on the internet. So
if you guys are curious,
to the table.
If you guys are curious, just look up XCOM 2 Gamescom. I'm pretty sure
it's
you guys
just a waste of time when developers do this. Why are you showing this on the business side of things if you're just gonna release it at the same time for everyone else? Like why are we here at disappointment?
On the Fallout side of things, that video never got released, at least not yet.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So there was still some new information there that we were able to bring to the public. But in the case of XCOM 2,
was a waste of time.
It's just like this video is already public when you're watching it. So there's nothing really new that you can...
I didn't need an appointment to see this. I could just watch it at home. That's the bottom line, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was XCOM 2. Anyway, after that, you went to watch Scalebound, which we already talked about. And after that, we went for that Dark Souls 3 interview. And again, like I said, I'm going to do a...
Miyazaki-san was there.
Miyazaki-san was there. He praised the sun. He praised the sun with us.
He praised the sun.
So that was pretty cool.
I asked him to praise the sun and take a picture. That was cool.
And I'm going to do a video on Dark Souls 3, like I said, with all the details, with this interview, all that stuff. So yeah, but there's also already a video about the Dark Souls 3 stuff on TGN, which I'm going to link you guys to.
Yeah, we did it. We did the Dark Souls video before the interview, though. So
yeah, so
your video will be,
my video will have
a bit more valuable
stuff, but it's also going to be a lot longer. It's going to be like 30 to 40 minutes of Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, even longer than the presentation and the hands-on time he had. Somehow
and
it's going
the interview longer than everything put together.
Yeah.
So after that, you went to watch Kingdom Come, if I remember correctly.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, yeah. So it's a very realistic RPG. It takes place in the southern region of Czech Republic, and it's so realistic that if you look at the game map and look at the Czech Republic map on Google Maps, you'll get the exact same layout. And they are recreating like castles or buildings from the time that still exist nowadays but are in ruins. They're doing studies on what plants were around that time, or what animals, and it's just an incredibly realistic RPG. No dragons, no magic. Even like the bigger important characters are characters that lived at that time. And you're not like a dragonborn. You're not a guy that's gonna change the world. You're just a dude that's taking part in history. It's an interesting thing to do with an RPG nowadays. Yeah. I can respect their work a lot. I don't know if the game will be fun. That's something that I really can't tell. But it's a development process that is really interesting, and yeah, can't say that can't respect those guys enough. It's very different, and they're really hardworking dudes.
And while you were over at the Kingdom Come booth, I basically went to watch a Niz America presentation. Most of the people on my channel, you guys already know that I love the crap out of the guys over at Niz America. And they showcased Persona 4 Dancing All Night, and that game is actually a lot of fun because the soundtrack of Persona 4, as you all know, is awesome. But it's not just about the dancing and the rhythm games. There's also an actual story being portrayed with the Persona 4 characters. So I think that is going to be an interesting title that wasn't really on my radar. Like, I knew about it, but I wasn't really that interested until I saw the gameplay of it. So I'm probably going to be checking that out once it comes out.
Best rhythm game, Persona or Guitar Hero?
Oh, man. That is so hard because you need to understand, like, I'm a huge fan of the Persona 4 soundtrack, and I don't know. I just don't know.
But Guitar Hero could have your favorite songs too, you know?
Yeah, I know, which is, but it's just like, don't make me choose, dude. Don't make me choose. I like them both.
I like them now. Both. You gotta choose now. You're giving awards.
Well, here's
Do you
what
want to be a
happens
judge or not?
If I have to choose, I'm gonna go with Persona because I already know what I'm getting with Persona. Guitar Hero is still very, very new, and Persona is just like I already know what I'm getting with that, and I love it. So yeah. Beyond the Persona thing, I saw this guy 5. This guy 5 looks amazing, and they say they're going to simplify it a little bit, so it's going to allow newcomers to the series to be able to be more effective and not have to focus as much on stats and all that crazy stuff. So that hopefully will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to try that out. The characters, the art and whatnot, really like super high res on the PlayStation 4. Looked amazing. The animation's still over the top. Just like a lot of fun for that, this guy. And then they showed a little bit of Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, I think is going to be the name of that one. You don't know a whole lot about Danganronpa Globku, but it is like this murder novel type of thing, but it is so over the top that it ends up just being super cool. What else did they show? They show this game that's coming out for the Wii U, which is supposed to be a mix of Sonic and Knights. You know that game Knights? Is it Sega Saturn or is it Dreamcast? I don't even know. I think it's Saturn.
I don't think I ever heard of it.
You never heard of Knights? Okay.
I don't think.
But
I think so.
It's a mixture of Sonic and Knights, and it's called Brodea Sky something. And it's basically like this dude who is able to fly, and there's a lot of animations that actually process like the animations in Sonic, but in 3D.
You watched a bunch of weird games that Niz America presentation.
Dude, I did. I totally did. There was another one, and now I can't remember what it was because you interrupted me. It's all your fault, dude. You messed it up.
Yeah. You guys are welcome.
But it's okay.
It was about time you shut up about that presentation, right?
No, dude, Niz America is awesome. And they got me a code for Onechambara, which I will be doing a video on that for the channel soon. Onechambara is basically about hot
Boobs.
women in bikinis. So boobs, cowboy hats, and a lot of gore. That's basically how I would classify that game right now.
Boobs gore.
Boobs and gore. Yeah. But anyway, after all this stuff, we went to play some games over at the CCP booth, and they were showing Eve Valkyrie as well as Gunjack, which we didn't plan to check out Gunjack, but we ended up.
I didn't even know it existed, but it was a 5-minute demo, so we said, "Why not?
Why not?
Let's do that."
So basically, we got to wear Gear VR for the very first time. I never tried out Gear VR, which is the thing that you have this headset, and you put a phone on top of it. And after that, you just have your like VR experience through the phone and with.
And you have like a touch thing.
Yeah.
On your temp. What's this?
Your temple. Your temple. Yeah.
So like on your temple, you have a tap thing, and you can tap it to fire.
And
Swipe it backwards to reload. Swipe it forwards to use a power up.
Yeah.
And you aim with your head, which was fun.
I mean, I guess it was disorienting for you because it was like one of the first times you were trying it. It was actually super intuitive if you had done any head aiming before, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was super intuitive for me.
Oh, okay. And I was really surprised with the quality of this. I did not expect something like this, that looked that good, played that good, to be, running completely on a cell phone and nothing else.
Yeah.
I thought that was really impressive.
The thing was, they have a wheel that allows you to adjust focus. And as soon as they put it in, now adjust the focus. And I'm like, I don't know if this is out of focus or if the Android graphics just suck. So I don't know if I'm good or not, but let's just do this. And yeah, I guess it's just graphically is never going to be as impressive as like Eve Valkyrie.
Oh yeah,
you're playing it on a phone. But
not even close. But
yeah,
it
still works.
It still worked, and I
just don't know who that's for, because if you want to play a mobile game, it's probably because you're not at home. But now you have to take this headset with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the
purpose of a mobile title.
I don't know who the target audience is either. It's weird, but it was definitely fun. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, we got to play Eve Valkyrie. Now, this was like my third time playing Eve Valkyrie. The main reason I scheduled this is because, again, like I said, we were popping Globku's VR cherry all over the place. So we got to experiment with 3 VR headsets because there were 3 different VR headsets. Because, like, when you played Poland, yeah, they were. When you played Poland, you were using the Oculus Rift DK2.
Oh,
when you played,
and it was the Crescent Bay.
When you played Valkyrie, it was the Crescent Bay prototype, which I hadn't used before either, and it is actually improved. But to be honest, the whole thing about glasses, because I've mentioned this in a video a while back when I talked about Morpheus versus the Oculus Rift. I said that Morpheus is a lot better when the way it attaches itself onto your head and the way that it adjusts, and it is still way better than Crescent Bay prototype. Like, not even
my glasses
close.
are a bit bigger than Ruri's. I'm sure you guys can notice that on the webcam. But what was happening was I put them on, and once I take them off, the glasses come out with a headset, and then I had to pick them up from the headset itself. Like that's how close the thing was to my face, and pushing the glasses against my face as well. No.
Yeah, it
was a hard fit.
Project Morpheus is a lot better in terms,
and
a lot.
Unlike the other one. The other one, I couldn't wear glasses at all.
You mean the Gear VR?
Yeah, the Gear VR.
Gear VR, you couldn't wear glasses. Yeah, but the Crescent Bay is a lot better than the previous, the DK2, but still, in terms of comfort, not even close to Project Morpheus. At least in my personal opinion, having tried both. But how did you like Eve Valkyrie?
Eve Valkyrie is awesome.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It was the first game I've ever played.
I wish I played multiplayer, because it seems a bit more interesting than that. And it's so disorienting. Do you know how there's no up and down in space? Like when you're flying your ship, and all of a sudden you're like upside down, but you don't know if you're upside down or not because there's no up and down in space. It's just super disorienting. Takes a while to get used to, but that's immersion for you. So that's how it works.
I'm curious about something. I noticed that when the guy was giving the briefing about the controls, he failed to mention control about rolling. Did you roll your ship at all?
Oh no.
Yeah,
like roll. What do you mean? Like do a barrel roll?
Yeah, like doing barrel rolls. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you could do that with the right and left bumper.
Like, maybe I did that by leaning my head upwards continuously. And
No, but you could actually do that. And I noticed that he didn't say it. And when I started doing it, I felt like you would get really dizzy by doing that stuff. It is very disorienting. So
first thing I did was look downwards and like kind of seeing my body.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That is super weird, especially because it was a woman. And I mean, it was weird, but fun.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Eve Valkyrie is up until this point one of the best VR games I've played. Eve Valkyrie and Battlezone. Battlezone, I've only played it on the Morpheus. I'm not sure if it's coming out for the PC or not. But Battlezone was also a lot of fun. It was kind of like similar to Valkyrie, but imagine the visuals from Tron instead, and you're playing with one of the tanks in Tron. So that was.
I want to play Riggs.
Okay, you want to play Riggs.
Yeah, let's try to do that.
Well, Sony wasn't there this year. Otherwise, we probably would have played Riggs. So, Sony, shame on you. You should have been there. Anyway, after Valkyrie and all that stuff, you went to watch some Unravel, and I went to play some Gigantic. So, nothing really new was announced.
So I played a different level of Unravel.
Yeah, you played a different level, but the mechanics were very much the same.
It had an enemy, which you hadn't seen before,
which
was a crab.
Oh, yeah, the crab, which could snap you in half.
Exactly. The crab would snap you in half, but you could also use the crab to solve puzzles. So, like, there was an oyster, and you threw the oyster in the water, and the crab comes to the puddle of water because it wants to eat the oyster, and now you can jump on top of the crab without drowning in that puddle. So you're going to use enemies to kind of solve puzzles, which is, you know, another interesting mechanic to add to all that you've talked about already, I guess.
Yeah.
You've talked about your experience at E3, right?
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So Unravel still remains a really cool game. I like that game a whole lot.
And then I drank one of EA's frappes.
Yeah, you drank an EA frappe because EA was like doing these coffee caramel frappes in their booth. And Globku got to drink one, and I didn't get to drink one because I was too late getting there. So thanks, Globku. Thanks for not waiting for me.
It's fine. But you saw Gigantic while that was happening.
I saw Gigantic. Gigantic, a lot of fun. The best way that I would describe Gigantic is like, think Smite, but actually using the Z-axis. Because, I mean, Smite doesn't really use the Z-axis, even though it is third person. Mostly you play it as if it was on a 2D plane, because you don't have like the sense of height and stuff. Yes, there's characters who leap, but they do the damage on the ground regardless of what they do. So you never really have to aim upwards. Your skills always go forward. And Gigantic actually made proper use of the Z-axis. Was third person, and it was a lot of fun. I played a tank which could like run in, grab people, toss them behind, like isolating them from the enemy team and tossing them into the middle of your team. And the objective is to destroy the enemy team's guardian. There's 2 guardians that are constantly doing stuff in the map, and your objective is to kill the guardian of your enemies. And it's a lot of fun. I like that game quite a bit. It's just I want to play it some more before I actually say whether or not I enjoy it too much, because there were a lot of devs there hyping people up, so it was going to be fun regardless of how good it was, because the devs were just there like just hyping people. Yeah, man, let's do this like this and like that and the other. But it was good. It was a great experience. I had some fun, but I want to play it some more before I actually commit to saying whether or not I like it. And after that, and finally, we watched Dreadnought, which was the last thing that we watched at the show. And Dreadnought, very much big ships. It reminded me, the mechanics of it reminded me a little bit of like World of Tanks, but with big ships, basically. So you play the game, you get credits, you buy bigger ships, you buy upgrades, you get all this stuff. And as you apply those upgrades to your ship, it is going to change the way your ship looks. How do you feel about it?
I think it's great that it's like if you change a weapon in your ship, it doesn't just change the way it fires, but you see the change in the model itself. I think that's another level of detail that the devs went into. Like, it's not gonna matter gameplay wise. Yeah. But I mean, it's gonna matter that you change your weapon. It's not gonna matter that the looks of it change. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's a level of detail that just kind of tells you how much passion these devs have for this game. And that really came across during the presentation. Yeah, you
There's
can customize your weapons in other different ways. Like there's aesthetic stuff that doesn't do anything, like body paint or decals and stuff like that. But on top of it, you add these weapons, which make your ship really your own ship.
There's a bunch
really,
of
really awesome.
There's a bunch of different ships you can play. Like you have the fast and agile scouts, which even though they're fast, they're still like pretty slow in the grand scheme of things when you compare it to other faster paced games.
It's not Battlefront fast.
Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
The fastest ships are still like pretty heavy and bulky. Then you
I don't
also
think
have,
like Twitch reflexes are going to come into play during this game, even if you're with the fastest ship, which can be good, or other people might not appreciate that. I think,
it's going to be more about the
particular game. It works really well.
It's going to be more about the tactical positioning of your ship, where you place your ship and where your ship needs to be is going to matter more than necessarily how twitchy your reflexes are and whatnot. Each of the ships will have skills. You can also change those skills very much almost like you're, building a deck of magic, which is something that I like to use a whole lot. You get to like, okay, I have this skill that does this thing, synergizes well with this other skill, like a warp drive, might synergize well with, I don't know, what was the name of those things? The broadside artillery. And there's a lot of variety in the way that you play your ship. And on top of that, there's also a lot of variety in terms of ships. Like I said, you had the fast scouts. You have the snipers, which have to be aiming forward to really snipe people down. You have the medics, which just shoot green stuff at your allied ships and they get healed automatically. You have your destroyers, which are like not the biggest of ships, but at the same time also not the smallest. They're like the medium level ships. And then you have your dreadnoughts, which are the biggest of all ships and the meatiest of them. And I really like the dreadnoughts. You really like the scouts, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I only played one match with each, so
yeah, it's like
I mean, maybe when I get my hands on the game, it will be different.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
Dreadnought is awesome.
Yeah, I like what I saw. It is going to be a free-to-play game. They say that most of the stuff that you're going to be able to buy is going to be either aesthetic stuff or, like boosts of experience and stuff like that. Apart from that, they don't want people being able to purchase.
They're still tweaking it, so they're not making any promises as of yet.
They did say that they didn't want people to be able to buy power spikes and stuff like that.
Right,
so.
yeah.
And that is pretty much the extent of everything we've seen at Gamescom. It was pretty hectic, and it was also Globku's first Gamescom. How'd you like it?
I think, a bit. I think Gamescom is huge. I didn't think I was going to have to walk that much from hall to hall. So yeah, it was very exhausting, but it was really awesome to get to talk to some developers. Some of these guys are people that I've been looking up to in the game development world. Like, people have made some games that I've really loved in the past, and getting to finally meet them and ask them questions about their upcoming projects was incredibly satisfying. And I also like, once I got the hang of it, I just felt, okay, I can actually do this. I can actually do this part of my job. I can go to appointments and do interviews and ask them relevant questions. Like, I feel at home here. So I really loved it. Can't wait for next year.
Yep. It was awesome. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this video. So usually leave me all your comments, feedback, all the kinds of good stuff in the comment section below. There's going to be a link to Globku's channel, so make sure to check that out. YouTube.com/WeAreMagicalNoob. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Boy.